What's happening, everybody? Welcome. Today is Friday, August 5th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Good morning, Stacy. Good morning, Liz. Good morning, all of you, whether you're watching live later or listening. Thank you for coming by. How are you? How was your Thursday? You should check out that episode of Martial Arts Radio Andrew and I did. What'd you think? What else happened? What was your Thursday like? What were the high points? What did I do? I worked. Went to the gym. I don't remember much. I picked some blueberries. It was a pretty low-key day, which actually I'm really happy about. I needed that. I needed a low-key day here, which, doesn't happen super often. Good morning, Jenny and Andy and Dennis. Dennis says, happy Fri-Yay. May a dragonfly never make its home in your underwear. I wasn't concerned about that, but now maybe I am a little bit. Good morning to Brian. Oh, it's raining. Ooh. I was sitting here. I woke up early, much earlier than normal, about a half hour ahead of my alarm, which, I thought about laying back down. I was like, no, let's just get up. I'm actually feeling awake and alert, so let's just do it. So I got up and actually watched a little bit of TV and checked some stuff on my phone and kind of thought about my day. And then the sky opened up and went, which makes the day a little less desirable. I'll tell you why in a minute. Good morning, Nathan. Good morning, John. So this weekend, this should be a fun weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend, a little chaotic. Somebody's picking up a car tonight. Somebody's picking up another car tomorrow night. In between, I'm driving to Connecticut to train with Bill Wallace and staying overnight, depending on how things go. Might be stopping by and helping referee a tournament on the way home tomorrow. Not feeling super optimistic about that just because of logistics. And so that's going to mean I'm going to be without a car at all for about 24 hours. That's the first time this happened in this whole car rental thing, which is kind of interesting. Jenny says, yesterday was productive for me. Chatted with Whistlekick teammates about a new book offering coming soon-ish. Cool. The best part about that? I'm not involved. Cool things happen, and I don't have to be involved in them. And that makes me really happy. I love our team. Dennis says, wait, you're going to be there tomorrow? No, I'm going to be there tonight. Because of the logistics with car stuff, had I known about the Superfoot event ahead of car stuff, which some of these bookings were made months ago, I would have blocked off the days, so I could have stayed, but I can't stay. I've got to come back. So I'll be there tonight. I don't know if you're going to be there tonight, Dennis. I know Andrew's going to be there. I know a few other people are going to be there tonight. Stacy, I think you're talking about the Vermont Classic, which was moved from Saturday to Sunday. That is not the tournament tomorrow. The tournament tomorrow, I have not seen anything about it being changed. So, other than that, I have to be on the road today at like noon. So I'll be getting a little bit of work done. And just because of weird logistical things, I'm dropping off the car in town and I've got to ride back on my bicycle. And it's raining and it's muggy. It's going to be gross. So I will ride back. It's only about 5 miles and then proceed to take like 6 showers. Good morning, Gad. We do have some jokes. So I'm just kind of seeing what you guys are doing before I read the jokes. Andrew put up a cool post about Free Training Day yesterday, about the Northeast Free Training Day, which let's see. Most of you are actually at or teaching at. Just looking at who. Yeah, actually, almost all of you. That's kind of fun. Let me just say, if you haven't reserved your room for the weekend, you should. Not because they go away or anything, and not because there aren't other hotels available, but because we're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be a blast. And dinner on Saturday night is at the hotel because it has, and this is what Andrew's post was about. Dinner is at this bizarrely good and inexpensive restaurant attached to the hotel. It makes no sense. The first time he came to me, this was a couple months ahead of, actually, it wasn't even that much. It was last year in conjunction with us having to move Free Training Day from where we were going to be in Vermont to New Hampshire. And let me just say, without Andrew, Free Training Day last year probably wouldn't have happened. He saved us. He's the man. And he's like, hey, so there's this restaurant. And I'm like, it's a hotel restaurant. Like, it's not good. It can't. I've never been to a good hotel restaurant. I've been to some that are tolerable. And he's like, no, this is good. And I'm like, and he sends me the menu, and I'm looking at the menu, and I'm like, the entrees are like $14.95. How is this food good? It just doesn't add up. He's like, let's go. So we went and we had dinner. It's like, how is this food this good for this cheap at a hotel restaurant? It was insanely good. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So we're doing our Saturday night event, which some of you are involved in things that we have not released publicly, that it's all lining up. It's all lining up beautifully. They've given us the back room to do what we want with for no rental fee. So we're going to do some cool stuff. We're going to have that room for a few hours. Oh, I'm so excited. Dennis says, yeah, that restaurant is totally excellent. Doesn't make sense, but that's okay. I hope he does too, Brian. Brian talking about his kid's birthday. So those are updates there. Are there any other updates for you? I don't think so. Got a bunch of stuff going on. Had a nice meeting with a client that I haven't been able to work with a lot, and just sit down and talk about what's going on with her business and her website and marketing and all these things that I'm good at. We just she sat on the floor. She's a neighbor. She came over and I sat in a chair. She sat on the floor and she's like, what about this? I'm like, that's not going to help you. How about this? She's like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, what about this? She's like, I'll do that. Stacy says, what do you call it when Tupac makes a taco? I don't know. What do you call it when Tupac makes a taco? So we'll use this to kick off the jokes. Take care, Andy. A gangster rap. There you go. I like it. Put that on the screen. That's a good one. Now, Dennis sent me over some jokes, so let me read those. These are fun. Shout out and thank you to Dennis. Ooh. You've all done a wonderful job covering for Frank. Frank and I have traded some messages, and we just got a couple more weeks left. Last week was Shark Week, so this week we have shark jokes. What do you call the stuff caught in a great white shark's teeth? Slow swimmers. How did the hammerhead do on the math exam? He nailed it. Did you know hammerhead sharks are more likely to attack people than great whites? How does a shark announce food is ready? Hot off the grill. What do you call a shark who wants to be by himself? A lone shark. I'll read that in a moment, Jenny. What did the shark say to the whale? What are you blubbering about? Uh-huh. What's a shark's favorite kind of sandwich? Peanut butter and jellyfish. What lie will a shark always tell a human? I'll just take one bite. What's a shark's favorite movie? Shawshark Redemption. What did the mama shark say to the kid shark? Watch that sarcasm, young man. Two more. Where do lonely sharks go to find companionship? Sandbars. I was at the beach today when I saw a man in the sea yelling, "Help! Shark! Help!" I just laughed and laughed. I knew that shark wouldn't help him. Dennis, those are great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, here we go with our laughter on Fridays. Throwing back to the comment about the room and just kind of the kismet that seems to happen with free training day. I have to be honest. If here, take that down for a second. If you've never been to free training day, you've not witnessed just everything happening. If you're not one of a very small handful of people who know what goes into free training day, you don't know how it just kind of always works out. It just always works out. I don't know how, but it does. And so something like this, I don't stress about it. Andrew's like, oh, I think I can get them to do that. Instead of like me following up and doing, it just kind of works out. It's like the one aspect of whistle kick that I can just be completely chill about because it always works out. And that's pretty cool. And so Jenny says, martial arts makes the world better and the world pays back with kindnesses, like reserving a room in a great restaurant for a bunch of people who like to punch and kick each other. I love it. I love it too. What else? I felt like there was something more I was going to say. Oh, we've got Frank's stamp of approval. He says, Dennis, those were great. They were great. I want to hear what you guys are doing today and this weekend. I want to hear about what you're looking forward to. Are you training? Are you competing? Promotions or things not, excuse me, related to martial arts as well. I want to hear about all those. Ooh, as I yawn. It's the hazard of this show. There's a bug. Yeah. So looking forward to doing some kicking tonight. Looking forward to getting to spend some time with Bill. I always enjoy that time. And there'll be some other people around that I know well, and I'm enjoying that I will get to spend some time with them. There will be other people I don't know hardly at all, and I'll get to know them better. I'm looking forward to all of the above, because what's better than spending time with people who love to do the things that we love to do, namely train. Jenny says she's doing goat yoga with a great friend on Sunday morning. I was talking about goat yoga with somebody the other day. I love goats. Goats are one of my favorite animals. It's probably goes dogs and then goats. Not because I want them as pets, but because they're ridiculous. They're so much fun. If you've never hung out with a whole bunch of young goats, you don't know what you're missing. Parkour may actually come from goats, and I'm being slightly serious. Because if you look at the way they move, they're crazy. They run and they wall run, wall spin. They do all kinds of crazy tricks. It's hysterical. Dennis says, I'll be training with Superfoot tomorrow. A couple of my students will be coming up from New York to train too. And if Dennis, I heard one of them was going to be there tonight. Brian says, Draven, his oldest, birthday party tomorrow. Devlin goes to conservation camp Sunday. Oh, cool. Memorial car ride for a buddy who passed last year from lung cancer on Sunday evening. I'm sorry. Maybe selling some wheels Sunday morning. Busy weekend. Sounds like a busy weekend. Dennis says, goat yoga is the best. Have you done it? I want to hear more if you've done it, Dennis. Gad says, solo training at home today. Have to be careful with my foot that I sprained a while ago. Still hasn't fully healed. I'll keep it light today, some stretching forms. Well, you do what you can with what you have, where you're at. Jenny says it's going to be your first time doing goat yoga. There was a spot that was doing goat yoga for a limited time here in Vermont. I haven't looked in a few years, but I just want to hang out with the goats. Like, yoga's fine. I have no problem with yoga. I've done yoga plenty. It's, depending on the instructor, is even enjoyable. But if you've got goats in the room, I feel like you're burying the lead. I'll come and I'll even pay the money. I just want to hang out with the goats. I'd rather get as much goat time as I can. I felt like there was something else I was going to bring up with you guys, but I can't think of it. So let's have a discussion topic while some of the rest of you chime in with what you're doing this weekend. Last couple of days, we talked about awareness and things. So let's talk about the next stage in that. How do you go, talk about moving from awareness to action? Now, quite often as martial artists, we talk about de-escalation. We talk about avoiding violence, but we don't often train it. Most of our training, 99+% of our training, is based on our de-escalation skills not succeeding. So let's talk about that bridge in there, that hopefully non-bridge, detour, I guess is a better road analogy, moving from the awareness of a problem or a potential problem to it not becoming more than a potential problem. We've been posing the scenario about walking down a street. So let's say you're walking down a street and you observe something that could become problematic. It could be a person, it could be multiple people. What do you do? What is the first thing that you do when you suspect a problem might be coming? What goes through your mind? What is your decision process? And what do your initial actions look like? I have my thoughts, but I want to hear from all of you. Oh, Dennis's student, he says he backed out for tonight. I may have to blow off Sarah tonight and take that spot. Though we both know my hip can't handle 2 consecutive days of superfoot kicking. Well, tonight's a shorter day. I think we're only doing 90 minutes tonight. Jenny says, I'm looking forward to the cuddling and bottle feeding that are part of the session with the goat yoga. That's insane. Goats don't cuddle well. They don't sit still. But if you're feeding them, I suspect they will. Dennis says, we have not done it yet, goat yoga, but saw videos from a friend who's done it multiple times. Goat yoga is at the top of our bucket list. Sounds pretty sweet. It's an interesting bucket list, though, goat yoga. So let me know. If nobody else is going to chime in, I'm going to have to chime in and start the conversation. How would you handle a potential, not yet violent situation? What goes through your mind? And I think for all of us, it's initially a mental decision. We're thinking, what's going on? How do we process what we're seeing? I think the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at what is the likelihood that what I am observing will involve me or someone that I am responsible for. The greater the likelihood, the faster I need to react, the more decisively I need to react. And that reaction is usually, if possible, removal, extraction. How do I get out of there as quickly as possible? The place where I've got the most practice with this is in a bar. Now, some of you may be aware, Jason Brick, who was on the show, we did a episode, I think it was titled something like The Incomplete Conversation of Violence. And he's putting together an anthology on violence. And I submitted something that I just saw a draft, I think a final draft, the other day, earlier this week. And so it's got me thinking a little bit of the importance of not just de-escalation, but avoidance before it can even get there. So for example, if I am in a social situation, especially one where alcohol is involved, let's call it a bar or a restaurant or a backyard party or whatever, and I notice people starting to get loud and upset, I'll leave. I don't need to wait for the problem to arise. If it's not my event, if I am not responsible for the people who could become problematic, especially if I'm getting a bad feeling about it, which I'll be honest, I have a really good track record for just kind of, let's call it reading people's energy. This person's angry and upset. This person's angry and upset. And I'm not getting the sense that both of them want to back down. I'll pull the plug. I don't need to finish a beer that badly. There's no benefit there. Good morning, Mark. Dennis says, I try to diffuse a tense situation with humor, and then adds, if there's doubt whether the situation will become physical, I ensure those in my care are behind me. I blade my body, meaning turn sideways, and raise my arms in a non-hostile manner to protect vital areas. Jenny says, I do the same. I've never been involved in a physical confrontation. I'm going to say this strategy works. Humor. Use conversation in general. Sometimes agreeing with the aggressor helps diffuse a situation, even if they are wrong, even if you don't actually agree. And I'm agreeing with both of you. But there's a spot in between that and when you first pick up on a potential problem. And that is the part in the equation that I find most interesting, because it's the part that we as martial artists tend to do some development, at least, of our, whether you want to call it intuition or sixth sense or whatever, you can put whatever name you want on it, but a trust of ability to detect things that may not be outwardly visible. And when you have that observation, you have the ability to take action before things become problematic. And what I find is the longer someone spends in martial arts, the more likely they are to trust that intuition. I trust it completely. I have pulled friends from social situations that did not want to leave. I'm like, something is going to happen. I need you to trust me. I've also left social situations where friends were unwilling to trust me because I don't need to go down with them. I don't trust what's happening here. I value our friendship, but I value my physical safety more. I'm out. And people who have not trained, who do not have that intuition developed, struggle with that. But like I said, I've got a pretty good track record. Things don't tend to go down very often, especially in the circles that I run in. So it doesn't happen frequently, but I'm trying to remember the last time something went sideways that I was around for. I have no problem leaving. I really don't. I don't like what's going on over there. Let's go to a different place, right? And Jenny adds on, the way we typically take a step back and raise our hands to say, whoa, I'm sorry, I don't want any trouble, is strikingly similar to a fighting stance preparing us to defend ourselves if needed. Absolutely. And if any of you know Tony Blauer's spear system, like that's kind of the root. It's those two principles combined. Gad says, I do that too. If I feel the vibe changing in a negative way, I will leave. Unless I know that by my leaving, others will be left vulnerable. Then I will first try to get them to leave as well. If they don't want to, try to diffuse. Before it really escalates, there's always the possibility to call the police. Sadly, in the US now, most departments are not going to respond preemptively. I shouldn't say most, many. We're starting to hear more and more reports, and I think as martial artists is something we all need to be aware of, that police departments, because many of them are so dramatically understaffed, they have to triage what they're going to respond to. And there are departments who sadly are coming out and being open that we are not responding to crimes of this sort, which is essentially giving permission to criminals who conduct those crimes. I don't like where that's headed, but that's a whole other topic. Liz says, we actually had a situation that turned into nothing. Good. The other day, I was very impressed with the way Vinny, this is her son, was aware and handled it. So we were leaving a store, walking to a car. A gentleman passed us, but then turned around to follow us close to Vinny. As we neared our car, Vinny looked at me, turned and looked at him. I acknowledged his observation, and without me saying anything, then Vinny changed his positioning in front of me and got in on the same side of the car as me. He usually, that's all I get for a comment. I'm assuming he usually sits on the other side. Yeah. If you are a parent with kids, kind of redundant. If you have kids that are old enough to understand stuff, working out signals, working out some kind of basic kind of hand language signal for them to express to you, I'm scared. There's someone that is making me uncomfortable. For you to say, I need you to switch sides. I need you to walk in front of me. I need you to walk behind me. You can make a game out of it. You can probably, I mean, heck, kids can handle sign language before they can speak. So you can probably get kids doing this stuff starting at 3. You can start with one of them. When I wrote, this is something I think about a lot. When I wrote Faith, when I wrote the novel, one of the things I put in there, something I'd really like to explore someday, the idea of 2-person martial arts, like known 2-person combative sets, people being on the same team and using hand signals and audible signals to communicate. You know, having plays like in football and being able to call plays. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And it's something that if I, at this stage, if I was in a relationship, if I had kids, especially with what's going on and the fact that things can change so quickly, I think it would absolutely be developing that. And it says, when all else fails, sing, we can work it out. If they're cool peeps, they'll join in. If they're cool peeps, they probably didn't need you to sing. Gad says, many years ago, there were these 2 guys harassing my wife and a female friend in a bar. No bouncers at that place. I immediately moved the situation outside, so we would have room to escape or get ready for a scrap. Luckily, they heard us talk about the police in Dutch. They were French. It sounds similar. They immediately called a cab and sped away. Good. Be confident. Be aware. Be prepared. And prioritize. One of the things, the concepts that applies in business, but it really applies everywhere, is opportunity cost. When we talk about opportunity cost in the context of business, and we're going to end on this concept, when we talk about opportunity cost in business, we can often apply numbers to it. If I'm doing a if I'm doing a spreadsheet predicting what sales are going to be over a certain time, if there's a particular deal that I'm working as a salesperson and I say, you know what, there's a 50% chance I'll close this deal for $100 to this person, I can write down $50 on my sales forecast. It's the likelihood something's going to happen multiplied by the impact. So if I'm in a bar and I think there's a 10% chance that this person on the other side of the room, who I believe has a firearm, is going to start shooting based on the way they're posturing, shooting has a high likelihood of me being severely injured or dying. Even if it's only a 10% chance that they start shooting, I'm going to leave. If that same person and that same 10% doesn't apply to a firearm, but applies to them pulling a small pocket knife, I'm less concerned. If there's a 50% chance that they start play wrestling with their friend who's also drinking with them, that has 0% chance of really, there's no impact on me. This is one of the ways that I see the world. How likely is something to happen? What's the impact if it does? And I think as martial artists, when we look at things that way, really just as people, when we look at things that way, we can see, the math supports leaving. The math backs it up. That's how I see it. So I'm going to head out. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see some of you somewhere along the way. I don't know who Brian's saying hi to Bob. I don't know who Bob is, but hello, Bob. And I'll see you back here on Monday. So take care. Have a good one. Remember, if you want to support, we've got the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. I posted an update yesterday. We've got the code FIRSTCUT15 to save 15% at whistlekick.com. And we've got the family page, whistlekick.com/family. I update it at least once a week. There's even a timestamp. If you are family, if you like using that word family and seeing yourself as part of what we do, you should be checking that page. I can't put it any plainer. Alrighty. Oh, Bob. That Bob. That's cool. Hi, Bob. I was thinking about you the other day. I hope you're well. All right, everybody. You take care. You have a great day, great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Peace.